Good evening, I'm Andrew Cheng.
And I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Tonight, as COVID cases surge, Quebec's top health officials acknowledge what we've feared.
We got to do everything we can to minimize a second wave.
Quebec is in a second wave. Ontario may not be far behind. Are we doing enough to contain the virus?
The Governor General left her last two jobs amid claims of workplace bullying, and the Prime Minister didn't check her references.
The process that was used was evidently not entirely adequate.
A CBC News exclusive.
The Canadian woman accused of sending a letter laced with poison to Donald Trump. How many other letters were sent, and to whom?
And the Emmy goes to Schitt's Creek.
And a Canadian Emmy sweep.
The Rose family has been my family since July.
How the comedy is still bringing people together in these isolating times. This is The National. Well, fall hasn't even technically started yet, and there's increasing concern not just about the number of new COVID infections, but about how fast that number is growing.
Within just weeks, some provinces now are back to posting numbers not seen since before restrictions were lifted. The rate of resurgence depends on where you are and how tightly protocols are followed. But Canada's four largest provinces now clearly struggling. BC and Alberta both posted over 100 cases a day over the past 3 days. Central Canada also moving in a dangerous direction. Well over 400 in Ontario today, the highest since early June. Quebec, almost 600, the worst since late May, when partial lockdowns were still in effect.
Now, it's so serious in Quebec, the province has increased its COVID alert system to its second highest level for some areas, and health officials are no longer dancing around the topic of a second wave. They say it's here. Alison Northcott looks closer.
As cases continue to rise, Quebec's public health director says the province is now in dangerous territory.
We are actually probably in the second wave.
And if people don't follow public health measures, he warns that second wave could be even bigger than the first. Some on the front lines are getting worried, even though hospitalizations and deaths have not seen a significant spike so far.
We have 9 COVID patients in the ICU. And while the number itself is concerning, I think what's most concerning is that the number has increased very significantly over the past about 10 days.
The province has placed 3 areas, including Montreal and Quebec City, on the second highest alert level, adding new restrictions, limiting private gatherings from 10 people to 6, and cutting off alcohol sales at 11 in restaurants and bars.
The next 2 weeks are critical. Like, many action needs to be taken, and the population needs to realize that it is urgent to act and take control of this, because we'll be in a big trouble in a few weeks if we don't do that.
Montreal is working to contain more than 50 outbreaks, most of them small, some in schools.
We got to do everything we can to minimize a second wave.
But when it comes to contact tracing, there's a hurdle. Only 1/3 of the people Montreal Public Health tried to reach this weekend answered the phone, making the crucial process to track and contain the virus less effective. Another reason officials are asking people to limit social contacts.
I think it's important to do, especially if we want to get the curve back down and go and do the things that we want to do.
All I can do right now is just be safe for myself and influence my friends the same way, and just see how Quebec handles it.
Officials warn that without public cooperation, Quebecers could face more tough restrictions. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
Ontario officials are also worried the provincial curve could skyrocket again, especially with a troubling number of new cases in several regions, mostly among young people. Katie Nicholson looks at whether enough is being done to keep things under control.
The line wraps all the way around and back out there.
Tate Highland would love to be in class. Instead, he's here, waiting for hours for a COVID test.
I can't go back to school until I have a negative test.
In Ottawa, other students are doing the same at a pop-up test site outside this school, shut down for 14 days because of an outbreak.
The doctor put something really sharp inside my nose.
Experts say increased testing is key to stopping Ontario's numbers from rising sharply. It's clear from the long lines The province is having a tough time keeping up with the demand.
It becomes an exponential curve.
An exponential curve means Ontario cases could double and double again. And this infectious disease expert says the numbers out today reflect decisions made 1, maybe 2 weeks ago.
We haven't missed the boat yet, but we have to move quickly. And by quickly, that means, well, yesterday.
That means faster contact tracing and, yes, possibly even some targeted lockdowns, but even that might not be enough.
We are close to a threshold where very targeted public health interventions may or may not be as effective.
And while it's too early to say Ontario is heading into an exponential curve, the surge suggests one thing.
It certainly is a red flag that we really need to start taking this more seriously.
Tell that to the people attending this Saturday night rally. Lots of fancy cars, not a mask in sight. Earning a scolding from the Premier.
Get your act together, and how about, I'm sure, I'll guarantee you, a lot of them have mothers and fathers. A lot of them have grandparents. Do you care about them?
Despite his frustration, no new action announced today, but it's coming. Tomorrow, details of the province's fall COVID plan are expected to trickle out. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
Health officials in Alberta have declared 2 separate outbreaks at a single hospital in Calgary.
So far, we have confirmed infections in 14 patients, 4 staff, and we're sad to also report that there has been 1 death related to the outbreak.
So 12 of the cases are patients in the cardiac care units, while the general unit has 2. But right now, officials say there's nothing to suggest the outbreaks are connected to each other. 57 staff members are in isolation, and contact tracers are looking into how the virus entered the hospital in the first place.
In the first few months, the pandemic ripped through long-term care facilities in Canada. And as cases of COVID-19 start shooting up again, so does the fear that we didn't learn enough from the first wave. Magda Gabrisalasa now on what some say still needs to be done to protect vulnerable seniors.
Mask on, Anil Reddy is grateful he can see his mom at her long-term care home. He visits twice a day.
She's really declined with the lockdown.
And now he's worried about what's to come.
Quite frankly, I'm absolutely terrified. The second wave, I'm just absolutely terrified.
Darlene Metzler knows that sense of terror. Her 84-year-old father died in April during an outbreak at his Northwood long-term care facility in Halifax. 53 people died, hundreds were infected.
My dad was diagnosed and he wasn't moved. He died in his room. And I can't take that back. Nobody can take that back.
Today, a review of what happened at Northwood was made public. It blamed staff shortages and overcrowded rooms for contributing to the spread.
We plan to invest about $26 million in the current fiscal year to support these recommendations and $11 million over the next 2 years to advance actions to help prevent the spread of COVID-19 in our long-term care facilities.
Ottawa is in the middle of an outbreak at the West End Villa. 64 residents and 28 staff tested positive. So far, 11 people have died. Workers say they don't have the equipment they need.
Workers are still being denied access to the N95 masks.
Today, the province disputed this.
The fact is that our long-term care homes in Ontario are receiving the PPE they need. They have the PPE they require, including N95s.
Reddy wishes he could do more for his mother.
If there was inkling of a second wave, I would pull my mother out, but unfortunately I can't because she's not mobile.
For now, he says he just has to hope and pray she stays safe at her long-term care home. Magda Gabrisalasa, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, as we mentioned, British Columbia has hit another record high for the number of active COVID-19 infections.
We definitely are seeing a resurgence. The important thing is, can we manage this? Can we keep it under control without having that rapidly growing exponential growth?
With more than 360 new cases reported in the past 3 days, active cases jumped up to nearly 2,000. Now, despite the growing caseload, British Columbians will head to the polls this fall. Premier John Horgan called a snap election today, dissolving his minority government. Here's Briar Stewart now with reaction from a province preparing for a vote in a pandemic.
In BC, the campaigning starts now. After weeks of speculation, the province has been plunged into an election.
It's 3.5 years since the last election, and it's never a bad idea to ask the people of British Columbia what they think, and that's what we're going to be doing on October 24th.
Since 2017, John Horgan's minority government has been propped up by a power-sharing agreement with the Green Party. Now the NDP is trying for a majority. By holding an election now, Horgan and the NDP are making a calculated gamble. They're betting that any anger around an early election call during a pandemic is not enough to dampen the party's support in the province. BC has been praised for its handling of COVID-19 so far. Polls show a high approval rating for the government and particularly for Horgan. Still, some voters believe now isn't the time.
There's way more important things they should be focusing on than trying to gain power at this time, in my opinion.
Government should delay like till 3-4 months, like until they have to wait like for the vaccinations comes.
And that would be my question to our premier. Why now? Is this opportunistic?
Instead of helping those in need, he's putting government on hold with this risky pandemic election.
Predictably, the opposition parties aren't impressed. The Greens just elected a new leader.
I am disappointed that this is what John Horgan has chosen to do.
A lot of the things they've tried to do.
Political watchers say one risk for the NDP is the rising COVID case count.
School's back. It's only been back for a week and a half or so, so we don't know what effect that's going to have on numbers, and we'll certainly see it over the course of the election if it does have some effect.
On who voters support and how many people actually turn up to cast a ballot. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Vancouver.
We have new details about Governor General Julie Payette and a history of workplace complaints lodged against her in previous jobs. We now know the Prime Minister's officials did not check with those employers before he appointed her. This news just 2 days before Payette delivers the government's speech from the throne. Ashley Burke has the exclusive details.
Before Julie Payette worked at Rideau Hall,
that's what I was saying, when you have a backpack.
She worked here at the Montreal Science Centre. As with her current job, controversy erupted. Complaints Payette created a toxic work environment and verbally harassed staff. Now former employees and board members say Payette resigned amid the complaints and was given 1-year severance pay. The problems didn't stop there. The same year in 2016, Payette also worked for the Canadian Olympic Committee.
Canada!
HR investigated at least 2 complaints, according to multiple current and former employees. One was from the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio. Payette allegedly screamed at and berated a staffer, reducing her to tears. Sources claim Payette was upset over the wait time for a drive and called it unacceptable that she and her son had to wait on the street and breathe in the pollution for so long. Sources say the Olympic Committee later spoke to Payette, and she did not seek a second year as a board member.
The vetting process is deep and extensive.
Payette left both workplaces under a cloud, but when Justin Trudeau's office vetted Payette as Governor General, sources say his office never asked either former employer for a reference. His office today maintained it did its due diligence prior to recommending her for the vice-regal role.
The process that was used was evidently not entirely adequate. It didn't uncover some things that ought to have been known. If they did indeed know those things, I would have described them as a deal breaker.
The Governor General's press secretary denies that any formal complaints have ever been filed against Payette and says that her record as a member on dozens of boards over the years has been exemplary. Neither the Canadian Olympic Committee nor the agency in charge of the Science Centre would confirm the complaints, citing privacy concerns. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Now, the Governor General delivers the speech from the throne on Wednesday. CBC News will have special live coverage hosted by Chief Political Correspondent Rosemary Barton. She will be joined by the host of Power and Politics, Vashi Kappelos. It all starts at 1:30 Eastern Time.
Well, now to the mysterious case of a Canadian woman accused of sending a deadly poison to Donald Trump at the White House. This weekend, she was arrested trying to enter the U.S., and today, police searched a condo in Quebec that she's linked to. Evan Dyer pieces it all together.
RCMP officers spent several hours at an apartment on the south shore of Montreal.
This is concerning
the packages, the suspicious packages that was sent to the White House and in other areas in the United States.
The RCMP say the apartment is linked to a woman arrested over the weekend on the Peace Bridge between Ontario and New York. The FBI believes she sent ricin to President Donald Trump in the White House.
You're dealing with a deadly chemical, ricin, that we know can, just the size of a pinhead, could kill any human being. So hence the reason why they're obviously very careful, very methodical in their search.
Court records identify her as Pascal Ferrier, a French-born Canadian citizen who's lived in Canada since 2008. Her social media accounts show little talk about politics, although this month she put out 2 tweets, including one that appears to threaten the president. Ferrier is also accused of sending packages to a number of law enforcement officials in Texas, including a sheriff and some staff at the jail where Ferrier spent 2 months in 2019.
Subsequent to her arrest for providing a false identification, they did an inventory search of the vehicle, which was her RV that she was driving. And in the RV, they were able to find they located a 9mm pistol. And so she was initially charged with unlawful possession of a firearm as well.
The police department that arrested Ferrier has also reported receiving at least 1 package. During her time in jail, Ferrier was found to have overstayed her 6-month visa, so she was released into the custody of immigration officials after the district attorney dropped the charges against her for the gun and the fake ID. And she seems to have been allowed to make her own way back to Canada, entering Manitoba in that same RV. Ferrier is scheduled to appear in a Buffalo courtroom in person on Tuesday. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Gatineau.
The death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg has already upended a bitter U.S. election campaign. Now replacing her on the Supreme Court is turning into an epic partisan battle. As Katie Simpson tells us from Washington, the groundwork is being laid for a record-speed confirmation.
Of the office on which I am about to enter.
In death, as in life, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg will break another barrier. She will be the first woman ever to lie in state at the U.S. Capitol. The public will be able to pay their respects, too, at the Supreme Court. Her casket will sit atop the stairs, an outdoor viewing because of the pandemic.
We're going to Ohio.
The president says he'll name her replacement by Saturday, when public funeral services are done.
I'm just doing my constitutional obligation. I have an obligation to do this.
Donald Trump is urging Republicans to use their majority in the Senate to confirm his nominee before the election, even though 4 years ago, those lawmakers rejected Barack Obama's election year pick.
I want you to use my words against me. If there's a Republican president in 2016 and a vacancy occurs in the last year of the first term, you can say, Lindsey Graham said, let's let the next president, whoever it might be, make that nomination.
Those words today are being used against Senator Lindsey Graham after he abandoned his position.
I will be leading the charge to make sure that President Trump's nominee has a hearing, goes to the floor of the United States Senate for a vote, because that is my job.
Trump and some Republicans are ignoring Ginsburg's dying wish that she not be replaced until a new president is installed. Trump mused Democrats made that up for political gain.
Sounds to me like it would be somebody else. I don't believe it could be, and it might not be too. It was just too convenient.
There is added incentive for Trump to act quickly. There may be a legal fight over election results that could end up at the Supreme Court. If a Trump pick is confirmed, the court will have 6 conservatives and 3 liberals. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
Well, people across the Maritimes are bracing for Hurricane Teddy.
I don't think there is such a thing as hurricane-proof. Mother Nature is going to win every time.
Next on The National, preparing for a storm in a pandemic and why this one is so hard to predict.
British officials sound the alarm as cases surge in the UK.
We have, in a bad sense, literally turned a corner.
And a historic Canadian sweep.
And the Emmy goes to Schitt's Creek.
Comedy, just when the world needed it the most. We're back in 2. Welcome back. In Atlantic Canada, all eyes are on Teddy as the powerful storm inches closer to the east coast. Now, Teddy is currently a Category 1 hurricane churning over the Atlantic. It could get stronger before transitioning to a strong post-tropical storm and tracking across eastern Nova Scotia, possibly on Wednesday. While it's not expected to pack the same punch as last year's Hurricane Dorian, the region is still preparing for a hard hit. Kayla Hounsell has the latest.
When Tom Rhino heard about Teddy, he had flashbacks.
Well, last year when Hurricane Dorian hit, we had the highest sea surge in my lifetime.
Herring Cove took a pounding. Rhino lost his wharf, his boathouse, and everything in it.
It was a very sickening feeling. It was surreal because you looked around, there was damage everywhere.
This year he's taking extra precautions. His boat's out of the water, he's added rock to weigh things down, and this new dock he just finished rebuilding, he's strapping that down. The Canadian Hurricane Center is clear. Teddy is not Dorian. It may not land as a hurricane, but that doesn't mean it should be taken lightly.
It's just a designation that we give it so that we can identify kind of the structure that it's going to be having as it moves over our area. But it definitely does not mean that it's going to be a weak storm.
Preparations are further complicated by the pandemic.
We've been planning for months on how that will work, making sure that we have all the right protective equipment for our crews, as well as proper social distancing.
Nova Scotians have experience with power outages that go on for days.
We're just buckling down with as much snacks as we can. Anything we don't have to cook or keep in the freezer, right?
Prince Edward Islanders are also tracking Teddy.
Just going around looking for tree limbs or anything that may be a reason for concern and having them taken out and removed before the storm.
With pretty much everything tied up or tied down, Tom Rhino says there's not much else to do.
I don't think there is such a thing as hurricane-proof. Mother Nature is going to win every time.
He's Teddy ready, but hoping the storm will pass without packing too much of a punch. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Herring Cove, Nova Scotia.
Okay, now tracking the storm for us, CBC meteorologist Ryan Snodden. So Ryan, talk to me about the path, exactly when or where we're talking about this thing hitting.
Yeah, what makes this rare, Andrew, is that it's coming in 2 rounds. This isn't a quick hitter and then it's gone. We get into the initial rain and wind on Tuesday. The center of the storm doesn't come in until Wednesday, and that's why there's still some uncertainty as to where the center of this storm is going to track, and that's a pretty important piece of the puzzle that will become clearer tomorrow.
Yeah, no kidding. And of course, you mentioned wind and rain. What else can folks expect?
Yeah, that's right. Well, gusts, widespread gusts, 60 to 90 plus kilometers per hour. But along and east of that track, we are expecting some gusts to exceed 100, especially along parts of the coast. Along and west of the track, 50 to 100 millimeters of rain, but could see some local amounts exceeding that. And so we're keeping an eye on that as well. Significant rain, very strong winds, but also storm surge warnings are in effect for parts of the coast. We're talking about waves reaching 7 to 9 meters later in the day on Tuesday. A storm surge of 50 centimeters could cause some coastal damage. So we're keeping an eye on that for Tuesday night and into Wednesday, especially along the Atlantic coastline and into Cape Breton. So, Andrew, between the length of this storm, the severity of the wind, the rain, and the storm surge, it's safe to say it's going to be a couple of very long days here in the Maritimes.
All right, we're waiting and watching. Ryan Snodden in Halifax for us. Thanks.
Thank you.
And in Nova Scotia, there are more details from witnesses tonight about the gunman responsible for April's mass shooting that left 22 people dead. Newly released court documents include what is described as his growing paranoia. His partner told police that the night of the rampage, he, quote, snapped and started burning down his property. The documents also show he spent thousands of dollars on accessories for police vehicles and how he managed to withdraw more than $500,000 in cash less than 3 weeks before the shootings. In Ontario, a man charged with first-degree murder for stabbing a man outside a Toronto mosque appears to have shared social media posts from a neo-Nazi group. That is according to an organization that tracks online extremism. There have been calls for the killing to be treated as a hate crime. Police say they are still investigating.
Well, next, a closer look at a difficult decision faced by many parents.
It's not easy. It's not easy. We have to sacrifice.
Why where you live and who you live with can make all the difference in whether it's back to school or stay at home.
And later, celebrating an Emmy sweep, the magic behind a history-making night for Schitt's Creek. Welcome back. Right now, across Canada, parents agonize over whether to send kids back to class or keep them at home. And that decision gets even tougher for families in marginalized communities, from lower-income neighborhoods to multi-generational homes to the elevated risk of high-rise apartments. Ioana Remiliotis shows us that where you live and who you live with all make a difference.
丰收的喜悦。好啊。Wow.
Simple pleasures, but no simple choices. Chloe Yan says she only had one.
It's a huge one.
To keep her parents safe, 8-year-old Madison is staying home.
I feel sorry for her. She could not even play during weekends or evenings with her friends who are going to school right now. Otherwise, what's the point to keep her at home? So that's make her even more disappointed. But I appreciate that she understands that she needs to keep her grandparents safe.
That's a purple one, lettuce.
Oh, I like purple lettuce.
Okay.
Chloe's parents and her mother-in-law all live with her. Her dad is a cancer survivor. Both are diabetic. And she's tried, but her daughter just won't keep a mask on. Virtual school is the safest option.
Worried that if you do not keep social distance and cannot keep your hands off your face, then for sure you're going to bring the virus home if there is virus inside the school. And possibility is very high, the chances. We couldn't take such a risk.
Ni hao.
Hello.
From multi-generational homes in Richmond Hill, north of Toronto, to crowded apartment towers in the city, where there is risk, there is reluctance and difficult decisions. It seems like a small obstacle in the middle of a quiet afternoon. But in the morning, it can take Shaklo Sharipova up to half an hour to get on an elevator in her building.
I was scared that it will be difficult for us to get down and back because of big line. And right now, it's only 3 people allowed to enter elevators. So right now, a waiting time even longer.
The inconvenience just adds to the concerns she already had about sending her 5-year-old daughter Kajida to school.
She's going SK this year. She is small, and I don't think that she can handle those physical distancing like measurements, especially wearing masks and keeping distance like 2 meters, etc.
30,000 people live in this Toronto neighborhood, most in apartment buildings, making the risk of exposure and transmission to COVID high. It's largely why roughly half the children here aren't attending school in person. Shaklo is active in the community. She says it's not an easy choice for parents.
It was a tough decision for me and for other parents too, especially in our community, because online education is not like easy one. You have to have at least like computer and reliable internet, right? Wi-Fi. And when you have like 2-3 kids who are taking online education and having one computer is not enough, right? And if your child is small, at least one parent has to be tech savvy just to show the child how to navigate those online resources.
Limited access to technology, or even a backyard. A big part of the decision to reopen schools was to ease the burden of staying home and the toll it's already taken on children's mental health. But the most vulnerable still seem to be bearing the heaviest load.
It's very typical of what happens. Typically marginalized kids are left marginalized. Hi guys.
Joy Henderson is an education activist. She lives in a largely working-class neighborhood in Toronto's East End. She has reservations, but feels her sons need to be in school to actually learn. But nearly half their classmates are going to virtual school. And that's the reality, Joy says, in many low-income communities.
Typically, a lot of these homes were the first responders, the essential workers. So a lot of these communities are highly racialized, and a lot of the parents can't afford to take time off work. So it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to keep my kids home safe if I can, so I don't have to, stand in line for 5 hours to get a COVID screening or, isolate my kids for 14 days.
The fear is only rising as the number of COVID cases does too. Thousands more families in Toronto and outside the city are making a last-minute switch to virtual learning. School needs to feel safer, Joy says.
Smaller class sizes would be ideal. I still don't understand why the government is refusing to do this. They've seen the numbers, they've seen it escalating. They're starting to scale back on how many people are allowed to go to events and such. So apparently it's okay to not go to crowded events, but go into crowded classrooms. And so it's just basic math to me.
That risk has forced Shaklo to prioritize her children's needs.
Hello, Ayub.
Her son Ayub is severely disabled and was regressing at home. He's medically fragile, but his school is small and relatively safe.
You happy? Ayub? School was good?
But the risk of him getting infected with COVID is higher if his sister went to her school, where there are a lot more children.
I feel some kind of sorry because right now there are lack of many things, right? Socializing, and every child just has that kind of need to talk to their friends, to play with friends, right? Right now, all day what she's just talking to me, she's just play with me, play with me, play with me. And I'm already I don't know what kind of game, because we played everything and she wants me to do something new. She's missing this stuff at school, and I cannot fulfill those needs she has actually.
It's not easy. It's not easy. We have to sacrifice something we could sacrifice.
Back in Richmond Hill, Madison understands why she can't be in school, and she puts on a brave face.
You're staying home to keep your grandparents safe, right?
Yes.
And how do you feel about that?
Happy.
A little sad too, though?
Yeah.
And why is that?
Because I can't play with my friends and I really miss them.
But right now, they are playing it safe because they say there's simply too much to lose. Joanna Vermeliotis, CBC News, Richmond Hill, Ontario.
Well, COVID-19 cases are also on the rise across Europe.
Personally, I'm totally expecting there to be another lockdown.
The new warnings and new restrictions in hopes of saving lives.
And later, matching students and seniors to make the pandemic a little less lonely.
Like Canada, several countries in Europe are seeing a spike in COVID-19 cases again. The UK bumped up its alert level today and is planning on closing pubs and restaurants earlier in the evening. As Renee Filipponi tells us, governments are taking action across the continent at every level.
It's a sunny last day of summer, and Londoners are taking advantage, shopping and eating out, knowing things could soon change.
Personally, I'm totally expecting there to be another lockdown to keep us safe. So I'm all on board, to be honest.
Stop a Bolton lockdown.
Already, there are an increasing number of localized lockdowns in parts of the country with surges. Today, a stark warning from government scientists. If nothing is done to curb the increase, the UK could see 50,000 new cases a day by mid-October.
We have, in a bad sense, literally turned a corner, although only relatively recently. And I think everybody will realise that at this point the seasons are against us.
The spike is already more serious in other parts of Europe, especially Spain. Neighborhoods in Madrid are now under strict lockdown, with people only able to leave for work, school, and medical care. It's crazy, says this woman. They shouldn't be confining us to neighborhoods. Protesters greeted Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez as he met with regional leaders today.
Esto no es un juego.
This is not a game, he said, promising Madrid the support it needs to help bend the curve. France is also preparing for things to get worse. In Paris, 20 new testing centers opened to help with the backlog of people needing COVID screening. In some parts of the country, hospitals are already near capacity as the number of people with serious cases of the disease grows. We must act in solidarity with the hospitals, says the mayor of Paris, who believes the next 2 weeks will see a significant strain on the system. And that's what they're hoping to avoid in the UK, where the coronavirus alert level was raised today and more broad restrictions to curb the virus are expected tomorrow. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, London.
Well, more than 240 migrants and refugees have tested positive for COVID-19 at a new temporary camp on the Greek island of Lesbos. About 7,000 tests were conducted at the camp in recent days, and hundreds of confirmed cases. Asylum seekers who were resettled after fire destroyed their overcrowded facility earlier this month. In India, rescue operations are underway after a residential building collapsed. At least 10 people were killed and several others are feared to be trapped under the rubble. Officials said the building in a suburb of Mumbai was in need of repairs, which couldn't be carried out because of the coronavirus lockdown. And biologists in Australia are planning the rescue of around 270 pilot whales. They're stranded on sandbars off the remote west coast of Tasmania. Experts say it appears at least 25 of them have died. Authorities plan to launch the mission early in the morning.
6 weeks after contested elections, Belarus remains in a state of near constant protest against authoritarian President Alexander Lukashenko. Again this weekend, female supporters of progressive candidate Svetlana Tikhanovskaya led the drive to push him from power. And as Chris Brown tells us, they paid dearly for it.
This was an especially violent weekend on the streets of Minsk, and women bore the brunt of it.
Уже 26 лет у власти сумасшедший дед, поехавший абсолютно, правит страной.
That crazy old man, as she calls him, is President Alexander Lukashenko. His thugs in black hoods have arrested or assaulted hundreds of women, some even sexually, especially during these mostly women's marches on Saturdays. Those here believe Belarus's real leader, the person who actually won the August 9th election, is Svetlana Tikhanovskaya.
We see that his pressure on demonstrators are becoming more cruel now, and they jail even women.
A reluctant revolutionary, Tikhanovskaya fled to Lithuania, where we interviewed her remotely. Her husband Sergei started the campaign to unseat Lukashenko, but he was quickly arrested, leaving her to juggle being a leader in exile and the mother of a 5-year-old girl and 10-year-old son.
He understands that something important is going on in Belarus, that his mom is important, but he doesn't catch why.
She is very brave woman and she loves her children, as every woman do, I think, and I'm proud of her. I'm really proud of her.
For 26 years, nobody listened to our people. We were nobody for our authorities. And I wanted to show that you matter. You matter for me, you matter for 3 of us.
With her other opposition colleagues now in prison, Tikhanovskaya has been forced to learn fast in the job of opposition leader.
Individual sanctions are really important now, and we are making a special list of people who were involved in the crimes.
She also has kind words for Canada.
Canadian authorities really respect our fight for freedom, for human rights.
And yet she insists her goal is not to rule herself, just to get Lukashenko out and hold new elections.
I see myself as symbol, as a national leader, but not as powerful president.
Lukashenko has called her wretched. Russia's government refuses to even talk to her. And on social media, there are many detractors. You're pushing us into a civil war, says one Instagram post. Back off, you imposter, another. But you won't hear that on the streets.
Мы за нее голосовали, и я верю, что она сейчас в правильном месте, и правильные вещи делает.
I want to believe that this, the happiest moment in nowadays Belarusians' life is very, very close.
Keeping up hope is, of course, what you would expect someone in her position to do. But Lukashenko's forces are giving no indication they're letting up or about to quit. Chris Brown, CBC News, Moscow.
Okay, next on The National, a sweep for Schitt's Creek at the Emmys, and that had a lot of people doing this.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Okay, so that's Sarah Levy, Dan's sister, watching the Canadian comedy Clean Up last night. She plays Twyla Sands on the show. We will be right back with a historic night for Schitt's Creek. A golden moment for Canada. The CN Tower lit up tonight to celebrate Schitt's Creek. You may have heard the CBC sitcom swept the Emmys comedy categories last night. Best actor, actress, writing, series, the list goes on. And get this, the show had not won a single Emmy in the previous 5 years. Eli Glasner tells us why this season was such a success.
And the Emmy goes to Catherine O'Hara, Schitt's Creek. Eugene Levy, Schitt's Creek. Schitt's Creek!
Schitt's Creek, the little Canadian show that could won every comedy award at last night's Emmys, leading to the ultimate in father-son moments between co-stars and co-creators.
I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. This young man who took our fish out of water story about the Rose family and transformed it into a celebration of inclusivity.
It was mind-blowing, wasn't it?
This TV critic says the secret to the show's success was how Schitt's Creek got deeper as it continued.
The characters grew just little by little, like not dramatically, but realistically. And it became this show about acceptance and love.
There are people here from the government.
The show started on CBC and Pop TV and then spread on Netflix. Where as the pandemic worsened, fans around the globe looked to the show as a refuge. Fans like Rahul Desai.
It's been my family since July.
Locked down with his mom in Mumbai, Desai took inspiration from the Rose family's ability to adapt, even comparing Eugene Levy's character to his own dad.
As soon as I started speaking to him, I started thinking of Johnny Rose. In my head, I used to keep telling my dad, why don't you be a little like him right now? I think we need a little less ego, a little more humble, acceptance.
Of course, last night was not a moment for humility, not for the Rose family patriarch.
A good Canadian show just kind of kicked some ass tonight. It felt pretty damn good, I got to tell you.
Go time!
This producer of another Canadian hit, Letterkenny, says our homegrown sense of humor is hitting the mark.
The lightheartedness and the acceptance of Canadian shows is a breath of fresh air in a world that's not so welcoming right now.
A Canadian success helping the world through tough times. Eli Glasner, CBC News, Toronto.
So good. Next on The National, a little pandemic matchmaking. How this senior and student became the best of friends. The moment is next. Many people have felt lonely over the past several months, and Hannah on the right there wanted to do something about that. So she decided to play matchmaker and paired a student with a senior. And her plan worked, and now she has found her new best friend. That's our moment.
We were each paired with a student, and the students started coming to visit us at our homes.
It wasn't necessarily a matchmaking program. It was just like a way for two people to have a friend. We focus a lot on the seniors, but I think it's just as important for the students as well.
As soon as I saw her, I knew that there was something that clicked between us.
In a way, she is kind of like a new grandmother to me, and I think she would probably she would hate me if I said that, because she's like, we're best friends, I'm not your grandma.
It makes me enthusiastic and energetic and looking forward to her visit. And I make a list of what we can do today.
And I think she's just kind of like everything that I want to be when I'm that age and more.
I have a whole new long-term friend in my life. Long-term, I'm 85, how long is long-term? Even when the program ends, we're going to find a way to get together.
Aww. I couldn't love this more, and nor this detail is amazing. Brenda was Ian Hannah-Mansing's grade 4 music teacher.
Yeah.
And also how this started, Hannah was delivering food to seniors over the summer, realized that a lot of them were just so lonely and food insecure. And she said, I'm going to fix this.
Yeah, and the idea just kind of took off from there. I mean, she was hoping at the outset for, 10 students to be paired with 10 people, and then that ballooned to, I think, almost double that, and now she's got something like 50 students knocking on her door to take part. It's amazing. That's The National for the September 21st. Good night.
Good night.